right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you, probably the biggest story of the day, maybe the week. Terrence Ruffin, Ruff Diesel, opting to sit out of this year's Classic Physique Mr. Olympia after being a constant rival to Chris Bumstead in that second place spot. Last year's Olympia, he was fifth. He said in his post today in response to a question, "Are you going to do the Olympia this year?" He responds and says, "No, not this year. After last Olympia, I was contemplating sitting out to try to get closer to my weight cap. I weighed 169 to 171 last season, and my weight cutoff is 187 outside of 2 shows that I've done. The elbow injury basically solidified that decision. I spoke to a few people, Lee Labrada, Tyler Mannion, and a longtime friend, Alex Cambronero, and I love what he said in particular. You can't show up to a show not at your best because when people beat you, they won't care about the reason." He continues, "It sucks because it seems like it may be Chris and Breon's last run, and I would like to be on stage with them one last time since we all basically began together back in 2016. But with my own career in mind, sitting out is the right choice. I've been in this division longer than anyone, and there really are only 1 to 2 others, Breon and Robert Timms, who've been able to keep up with the sport as it evolves for me to remain competitive. Just like in 2019, I have to put my head down for a season. The top guys, Chris, Ramon, Breon, not sure about Wesley, are basically tapped out when it comes to the weight cap, and therefore tapped out when it comes to making major improvements and bringing up weaknesses. No hate there, just an observation. Obviously, they have the best physiques on the planet currently, and with being able to play around with 17 pounds, I hope to be able to bring something truly incredible next year." So I think we've all kind of heard these rumors that this might be Chris's last Olympia. And if you look at the last Olympia results, Chris winning, Ramon second, in third, Breon in fourth, Terrence in fifth. I don't know for sure that this is going to be Breon's last Olympia, but that seems like it could be likely. If Chris and Breon do retire after this year's Olympia, Terrence takes the year off to get better. Terrence was in fifth last year. The guys that would be in the conversation for the next Classic Physique Mr. Olympia champion would be Ramon, and Terrence based on those placings. And if Chris does retire, it's probably a wise move that Terrence is waiting to bring his best until next year by sitting out this year, because that will be the first year that the title is open. And again, this is a big if. We don't know for sure that Chris is going to be done after this year, but it kind of seems like he will be. And I also like that Terrence mentioned Wesley in his post, Wesley Vissers, especially after winning back-to-back Arnold Classic titles, beating Ramon Dino at the Arnold Classic. That's probably one of the things that I'm most excited to see at this year's Olympia is where does Wesley fall in this lineup since he recently beat Ramon Dino, who was the number 2 guy at the Olympia. Could Wesley end up in second this year and totally change the conversation about Ramon being next in line to the throne? Or could Wesley even push Chris? These are kind of the interesting things that I'm looking forward to seeing at this year's Olympia. But Terrence, I guess my question for you guys is, do you think Terrence will one day find himself back in that conversation as a top 2 guy, which he's been kind of out of for a couple years now? Now, next up in the news, the latest update from Hunter Labrada at about 2.5 weeks out now from the Italy Pro, where it looks like he's going to be having to face Neckzilla to earn his Olympia qualification. And just honestly, based on everything that I've seen from Hunter, including this update, his conditioning looks significantly ahead of Rubiel's. And I think that even with Rubiel's freak factor, I think it's very unlikely that he's going to beat Hunter Labrada at this Italy show. But based on Hunter's caption here, he talks about his friend Carlos Philbrick, who was doing the UK show, and the way he talks about it, he says he's up 1 week after me in UK. So I'm assuming Hunter has no intention of doing the UK, especially if he wins the Italy show. Maybe if he doesn't win Italy, he'd have to go to UK if he wants to do the Olympia, but I really don't see that happening, him not winning the Italy show. But If he wins Italy, beats Neckzilla, Neckzilla could, theoretically, go to UK and try to win that show. And again, I have no idea who's doing that UK show in open bodybuilding. I don't think there's really any big names left that would be traveling to do that show that need to qualify for the Olympia. And certainly not really big enough names that would possibly beat Neckzilla, even if Neckzilla's conditioning is off. He's just so insanely big and freaky. But Hunter looks phenomenal here. He looks really dialed in, really conditioned, and really, really tough to beat. And actually, we did get a recent video from Rubiel today. It's interesting, though, because like I said, they've mentioned in multiple videos, Rubiel, Fran, and Angel Calderon, Rubiel doing this Italy show. But when you look at Rubiel in this video, you saw how Hunter Labrada looked. You look at Rubiel in this video, he just looks very like smooth and soft. You don't see that vascularity like Hunter has, those deep separations like Hunter has. Like in the beginning of that clip, when Rubiel kind of hits that most muscular, you don't see those deep striations in the shoulders or that crazy vascularity like Hunter has in the arms or going across the chest. You just don't see it with Rubiel. It's odd. He doesn't have that look like he's 2.5 weeks out from a show. And I wonder maybe if he just decides to only do the UK show, and maybe I don't know. It's weird. His look here just does not look like he's this close to a show. Maybe his real goal is to kind of coast into one of these shows, either Italy or UK, pick up a qualification that's a relatively easy qualification for the Olympia, then really focus on his peak being for the Olympia, which he still has a good amount of time to prepare for, a little bit under 2 months more of dieting. But I don't know, man. I just want to see something different from Rubiel. Obviously, we've established he's a freak. He's really big, ton of muscle. I want to see him on stage the next time we see him, peeled to the bone. I want to see something different that makes us say, wow, this guy's the real deal. And I just feel like we haven't seen that up until this point, other than crazy amount of muscle, really big dude. Now, next up in the news, here's a guy we really haven't talked about at all in this Olympia conversation. Brandon Curry. Despite the fact that at last year's Olympia, he was top 4. Brandon was still in the mix at the last Olympia. He's been really quiet this year. We know that him and his coach Abdullah parted ways. We don't know really the exact circumstances behind that. And I guess we don't really know for sure that he is doing the Olympia. I know that we heard rumors, and I think it was even Abdullah that said this, that there was a plan for Brandon to do that Dubai show. Obviously, he didn't do that. But looking at this training video of Brandon posted today, he certainly looks like he's preparing for a show. You can see how deeply separated his abs are through his shirt. He looks really vascular. He looks like he's dieting. Where do you guys think Brandon falls at this year's Mr. Olympia? Last year, it was only Hadi, Derek, and Samson at the Olympia that placed ahead of Brandon, so you could argue he should still be in that mix. But really, other than these training videos, we really have no idea what his physique is looking like right now overall. We haven't seen a physique update from Brandon in I don't know how long, and it's kind of the same thing with Big Ramy. We can't say for sure that Ramy's not doing the Olympia. I think it's probably a safe bet. We've seen absolutely nothing from Ramy in over a year. And I guess we won't really know for sure until we see the Olympia competitor list, not the qualified list that you see on the Olympia website, but the actual competitor list the week before the show. Those will be the names of the athletes that have actually signed the contract, committed to competing at the Olympia. But I am genuinely curious what you guys think. If Brandon does do the Olympia this year, which it looks like he is, where do you think he's going to place? He does specifically mention in the caption that he's 8 weeks out, so I guess he is doing it. But like I said, I don't really know what his coaching situation is. We haven't really seen any physique updates. He says his assistant, Amira Al-Abdullah, is helping him. And he also mentions Ahmad Al-Naki. So I don't know if those are his official new coaches or what exactly the deal is. But I am excited to see him back on stage. We haven't really talked about Brandon much at all, and he's someone I'm looking forward to seeing compete. Now, the final story that I have for you guys today, we got to talk about this latest training video from Derek Lunsford. I mean, we already kind of know that Derek has probably the most insane back on that Olympia stage. But this training video, his back is just, it looks so gnarly. It's a very difficult task for anybody else in this Olympia lineup to try to beat him in any of the back poses. And you can see why in this video. Just the amount of muscle and density he's got in his back it's off the charts. And even though Hadi looks like he's significantly brought up his back from what we saw at the Arnold Classic Ohio and the Arnold Classic US, those back shots are still going to be very, very tough for Hadi to beat. Derek is just, he's in a league of his own when it comes to the back. The back double bicep, the back lat spread, it's hard to really imagine anybody beating him in those shots. So I think we should definitely appreciate Derek while we still have him competing, because I feel like after Derek, we're probably not going to see a guy with a back like this for a very long time. I mean, it really is off the charts. So that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon, and as always, love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NICKS&P, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel, and consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.